What's up, guys? Happy Memorial Day weekend. It's Friday, end of the week. Probably the best day for most people of the week. But great day. It's a beautiful day outside. Got up early this morning, got to the gym, got to work, started getting things in order, and just wanted to do the video. I know I missed yesterday, so again, talking about earlier in the week or last week even, I said about do what you say you're going to do. I understand I may have not done what I said I was going to do in this instance. So look, we all make mistakes. Again, that was the message yesterday, right? Or the day before yesterday was we all make mistakes. Look, so I made a mistake, didn't get to do it yesterday. Just yesterday was so packed for me, I just didn't have the time, which is no excuse. There really is no excuse. The fact is that I just didn't get the time to do it, and I'll do better next time. I'll try and make sure I get these videos in on a daily, and try and give you guys a little bit of motivation, inspiration for the day. So today I want to talk about being a Christian, right? And look, I'm not out here trying to press a message and trying to push a message that you should join any kind of religious group, or you should try to be what I am, or anything like that. I think we all have a God of some sort, right? Some of you will, and I used to serve material, right? I used to serve Gucci and high-end brands, and don't get me wrong, I still enjoy wearing and rocking Gucci. I still rock Gucci, but I don't serve material anymore. We all serve a God, whether it's a material God, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Allah, and look, I don't condemn anyone for any of their beliefs. That's your belief, and we have a choice. We have a right to choose what we want to believe. God gave us the ability and gave us free will, so we have a choice. We can do whatever we want, and I don't condemn anyone for any of their beliefs. You can believe whatever you want. This is just what I believe and what I have been through and what I have experienced in my life. I went to Christian school when I was young until 7th grade, went to public school, lived my life kind of how I wanted to live it, made my own decisions, did what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, how I wanted to do it, and didn't have any regard for anyone else really, or taking into consideration maybe for me what God's opinion or what his counsel was. I just did it. And I'll tell you the truth, for me, that didn't work. Right? So, as most of you know, I was engaged for a while, was with a woman for 3 years, went through some hardship with her, and ended up splitting 6 months ago. Now, I didn't ask God for his consult on that. I didn't ask God for his opinion, and for a while there I thought, why, God, why did you allow this to happen? And then I turned and thought, okay, well, God's saying to me, well, you didn't ask me. I didn't let it happen. You made a choice to do this, and that's why you're where you're at right now. And it's funny because that made me think about what I said to a woman a couple years ago. I'm not going to talk about who or names or anything like that, but I talked to a woman a couple years ago, and I remember talking to her, and she was like, I'm just so mad at God. Like, I feel like he's deserted me, and, that's why I'm where I am today. And I said to her, I'm like, if you think about it, there is no human in this world that will not let you down. You will be let down by a human in this world. For me, God has never let me down. So you can't blame it on God. Blame it on your choices. If you made the choice to do something, that's what put you to where you're at today. So I think that's important to remember for me. I remembered that and decided that I'm not mad at God. I'm mad at myself for the choices I made. I didn't even ask him for his consultation. So again, today's message for me is being a Christian, right? And there's this guy that I know about that was recruited. I talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago briefly. But there was this guy that, he was sexually immoral, he was into drugs, into alcohol, and a recruiter from this ministry that I know about, recruited this guy and said, look, we'd love to have you come on board and start to serve God. And, the guy said to him, but I sleep with women, I do drugs, I drink alcohol. And the guy said, well, can you stop? And the guy did stop, and he became dedicated. He dedicated his life to Christ and to serve God and to serve others, and the guy became someone that was an amazing man, or is an amazing man, and now he's an amazing man to lead, and an amazing leader, right? So we all have the ability to become a servant, in my opinion, to a servant of God. But we need God's hand upon us to be able to do that. God's hand can do anything. Anything in this world that you can think of, you dream small, I dream big, because I know that God has, and I have an expectation that God has great things in line for me. So again, your belief is your belief. This is my belief, and this is how I want to present it. If you don't like it, no big deal. You don't have to follow. But being a Christian, like, what do I mean by that, right? So living by, there's a passage in the Bible that talks about, and this isn't word for word, I'm just saying, there's a passage in the Bible that talks about, it's in Galatians, and it says about how we need to live by the fruits of the Spirit. What are the fruits of the Spirit? Love. Number one, love, love, love. Joy, peace, long-suffering, meekness, kindness, and patience are just a few of those fruits of the Spirit. People will know who we are by our fruits, right? They will know who we belong to based on how we act and how we behave and things that we say, and I think that's important, right? And there's things of the world that it talks about also. And the things of the world being sexual immorality, lying, cheating, drunkenness, and a number of others, right, that I'm not going to really go into all of them, but, you can look it up yourself if you really are interested in finding that. But there are ways, and it says in there that, following and living by the fruits of the Spirit will give you eternal life, and living by the ways of the world will give you condemnation to hell, right? And we need to talk about hell too, because it is real. The devil is real, right? And God is real. In my opinion, what my belief is, God is real and the devil is real. We need to understand that. If we're Christians, we need to recognize that stuff is real. And look, we don't do things, a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention names, but a friend of mine that I've been friends with for years, good friend, and, but I just feel like, and we have this discussion sometimes, and I feel like a lot of his message is all about fear, fear, fear. You need to fear God. And that's really not the takeaway that I believe God is trying to spread a message of. I believe he's trying to spread a message of love. Now, when we talk about fear in the Bible, it talks about having a fear, and that fear is really, in my mind, a healthy fear and a respect for God, which makes us want to do what's right at all times. In respect for his wishes, respect for what he wants us to do, or what he would have us do, or the way he would have us live. Again, this is not God saying, you're condemned, you're done if you don't follow every single law. God understands that we are sinful beings. We are not going to be perfect. Nobody in this world is perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall to temptation. We are going to, we will slip. If we have God at our right hand and holding us with his right hand, we will not fall. We can slip, but we won't fall. And we all make mistakes, and God is forgiving God. He's a loving God, and he wants to give us his best. And that's one of the things that I remember too is, God wants his best for us. Are you getting God's best? If you're not getting God's best, maybe you should take a look at your life and think, what do I need to do? What do I need to change in my life? How can I receive God's best for me? For me, it was getting in the will of God, getting back into prayer with him, having an intimate conversation with him every day, having a prayer with him, going to church on a weekly basis. I'm not sitting here bragging, saying I'm this, I'm that, look at me, look at what I'm doing. I'm just saying, for me, that's what it took for me. That's what took me to get back into the will of God and to feel like I'm living righteously for him. And again, I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I've done a lot of things that are wrong, and still to this day, and it will continue through my life, I'll make mistakes and not be perfect, right? It's just not going to happen. And I understand that, recognize that, but when I do something wrong, I ask for forgiveness and look to change my life and be better in those areas. And again, sometimes we'll slip back, but we will not fall if we hold on to God's hand. So I think, for me, what happened for me is my environment started to change. My environment started to become so much better once I started living like that. Once I started looking into how can I live better for God? How can I serve God better? How can I live in the fruits of the Spirit, which is the love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, patience, and I've been finding myself more and more every single day. And I love it. I love how I feel. I love the positivity positivity that I've been given, that God has given me, and He has shown me mercy and shown me and given me grace, which are things that I really don't deserve, and mercy, which is the things that I do deserve, that He doesn't make me suffer for. Again, we do have suffering, we do have times of trials, tribulations, but the fact is that God will be with us through those times. He's not going to leave you on your own. So like I said, I think, my environment has come better. And look, if you're kind of confused, maybe give it a shot, right? Give it a shot and see what that does for you. See if it changes your life. See if it gives you a fire, the same fire that's lit over me, that people have said to me now, your fire is lit. And it's hot. How did you do this? How are you doing this? How'd you get this way? And I explain it to them. Whether or not they take that and they want to run with it and try it themselves and see how they feel getting into the will of God themselves is really their decision. Again, they have free will. So, look, guys, I think that's really what I want to talk about today. Don't want to get too more in depth, but I think that's just a basic understanding from my mind, my point of view. If you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. I still appreciate you watching the video and taking the time out to support me. Thank you guys so much. And you guys have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day. And thank you to all that have served.